So welcome back to the channel, Wolves fans. I'm doing a video that I didn't expect to do today, but as always trying to respond to the news. We've got some big news from the top actually. Our chairman Jeff Shi and sporting director Matt Hobbs have done an in-depth interview with the Telegraph. We've actually highlighted all the main points on our own website, alwayswolves.co.uk, with all the main quotes. You might want to go and check that out. But I'm going to be going through it, all the main points, giving you my thoughts as well on what it potentially means. And of course, as always, we want to get your feedback in the comment section below this video. So if you find it of value, please smash that like button. What's going to be covered in this? Well, the interview concerns PSR, Kilman. Are Fosuns still invested in Wolves? What's the big picture? And Gary O'Neill, and we're going to obviously sum each one of those up with our own thoughts, but it's really important, as always, as we always like to do, to get you, the fans, your opinions and thoughts in the comment section below. So before I get started, obviously a lot of owners do not do interviews or anything at all, so from my point of view I think it's positive, always positive, when you hear from Matt Hobbs and especially from Jeff Shi. Obviously when they do interviews they're always open as well to criticism on that interview. So let's get stuck in to what's being said. So first of all, the reference, do the club have PSR issues? Jeff Shi has said PSR is something that they've always kept an eye on and they've never been close to the line. They've said they've never been panic enough to do something to break the rules. Matt Hobbs said if PSR is an issue for the football club, it shows that you've got your planning wrong. We're disappointed of ourselves if PSR was ever an issue, and you've got to stick to that rule. Look, yeah, they'd made a lot, didn't they, of sales that year to avoid FFP, and you have to applaud them for obviously not getting the points deduction from, but from our understanding it was quite close to the line. So it's great that they did that, but I think they did learn a lot of lessons from that season. On to why was Kilman not replaced? Now a lot of fans, including ourselves, have made a big issue of this. Max Kilman being sold, great profit, can't argue with that, 40,000 to 40 million pounds. And look, you know, they had Shi and Matt, but Matt Hobbs has said, has acknowledged that externally some fans may feel we've let ourselves short. It's actually completed, as he say, married up towards what their plan is at the start of the summer. He said playing at the back four, we're not going to carry 5 centre-backs. No club at our level ever would. He talked about Shi and Matt. Obviously he's now out for the season, and he also referenced that they've done this sort of thing before with bringing younger players through with the likes of Pedro Neto, Diogo Jota and Adama Traore, and when Joe Gomez came to sit under Mario Lemina and Ruben Neves and Joe Moutinho. He said that's their model and why we signed Bastian Mupe. He said even if we signed another one, and we were looking, and I can confirm that, you know, I did speak to Matt on the day of the Content Creators Cup, and he did confirm that they were close to signing another centre-back, but he's gone on to say here that Santiago Bueno would have gone out on loan for regular football. My take out on this is, look, I'm not buying that particularly. I think Matt Hobbs generally, and I've said it many times on this channel, has done a fantastic job since he's taken charge. But the game point, the takeaway that I take from that is they're playing a back four. It doesn't matter what. Back four is the way they're going to play this year. And okay, having 5 centre-backs, I get it. You know, there's a lot that aren't going to be thinking, but you have to plan for things like injuries. Has no lessons been learnt from last year when we had all the injuries to the forward line? Things like that can happen, and of course you gamble with it. Shi and Matt out injured for the rest of the season. Dawson is brilliant, but like, he ain't a young spring chicken anymore. Totti Gomez is still a young defender. Santiago Bueno hasn't had a lot of football, and Bastian's only 18, and by the way, he's injured. And surely by having the 5 centre-backs, it gives Gary the option, a lot more of an option, to play a back 3 and switch. You can't be rigid. You've got to be able to evolve and change tack if you need to within games. Now, it's great setting out that we want to play a back 4. and I understand his argument, but to me, and I think to most of the Wolves fans, we're not really completely buying that, because you've got to plan for what happens if we have a major injury and we've got a defender that's out long term. You've still got to be out. You'd still have 4 defenders, wouldn't you, instead of 3? So be interesting to see whether they do bring an emergency loan in. Can't bring in an international player, can only bring in, from my understanding, a homegrown player, and that would literally just be on backup, and I'm sure Wolves will be looking to bring in another central defender in January. Leave your thoughts on that one anyway, but as I say, generally I'm happy with the work that Matt Hobbs has done. It's just, I think like all Wolves fans, we just can see that we needed another centre-back, and to hear that Santiago Bueno was going to be sent out on loan, if we did, I'm not sure. And of course that also answers questions as well about the Hugo Bueno situation too, being sent out on loan. Important one here. Are the owners still committed? Jeff Shi has said Fosuns have never been an owner to spend for fun. It's not in their nature or character. They've always tried to invest where necessary to give the club leadership team and foundation, but also empower the team. Here he says, he's gone on to say that the plan is to combine intelligence and teamwork together with cash injection to build something for the long term. It's always the way for the chairman, the owner and the group. He's also gone on to say here, we've been speaking with groups about minority investment and there is plenty of interest. We have to find the right people aligned with us. The valuation terms and how we work together for Wolves' long-term future is important. We're very active now and have more investors to join us. Now, look, on this, it's been reported for a long time that that Fosuns are looking for investors. They've got people over in New York that do this sort of thing that are looking at it. From our understanding, that has been making progress and could potentially be close to happening. But also, like with the books, when you're looking to sort of bring investors in and or potentially make a sale, just like what Jets Moxie did, you've got to make the books look good, which could also signal to me why the investment hasn't quite been where Wolves fans would like it to be. In terms of spending for fun, you know, you just look at Fabio Silva, £35 million we spent on Fabio Silva. I think they got burnt by some of the signings. Conchalo Guedes is another one, although he's making a good breakthrough season with us in his 3rd season. There's a lot of money spent on him, so they have spent big. We've also, there's nothing wrong with not spending big and bringing in great players. Joe Moutinho, £5 million. You know, we bought in like Pedro Neto, Max Kilman. You can get good value in the market, and that's sensible. But sometimes you do have to obviously pay the extra. And yeah, I think personally, and Emma thinks personally, that yeah, they are hopefully going to be close to bringing in investment. I think all the fans want to see ambition, investment coming into the club, things happening with the stadium. You look at Birmingham City and their owners, they've come in, they're already buying the land to build a new stadium. You look at Aston Villa, you look at Leeds that have just announced they're going to be upping their ground to 53,000, improving the facilities. What's happening with the stadium? Things like that. Long-term vision is great, but like, we need the news. So it's saying that they are still invested in Wolves, but they're looking for extra help with investment, and hopefully some of that investment will help that some of those things, and we'll stay tuned to see what happens with that. But it might be a lot closer than we think. It's gone on to ask about what the long-term plan is. Jeff C says, I think the long-term plan is to make the club more influential and bigger with a larger fan base around the world. He's gone on to say, to reach that goal, we would need to remain competitive in the Premier League and try and win something. Being competitive at the pitch is not enough. You have to try something else. We're working with the city to make Wolverhampton more dynamic. He's gone on to, he's also said that Wolves are in the top 4 in China for social following. And it's more difficult in the UK because of the big 6. They want to be consistent on and off the pitch for 10 years. Our focus, he says, more on the long-term growth and the short-term win. After he'd gone on to talk about reaching the last 8, semi-finals under Nuno. Winning something is the ultimate goal. We want to win something, he says. Winning the league will require a lot of luck, but winning trophies and getting to Europe is imaginable. Don't see, remember many seasons where we've been far away from Europe. We're always close. and have also gone far in the FA Cup. It has been our target because that's what sport is all about. Now look, basically reading between the lines, Jeff Shi's asking for patience. I think Wolves fans have been incredibly patient, to be honest. We got into a great position under Nuno Espirito Santo. The investment was required then to take us to the next level. Nuno obviously left. We've gone backwards since. Every single year we've gone backwards, and the investment seems to have dried up to a point. I do understand the global fan base. They have tried different things to expand the revenues. You've talked about fashion, esports, music, this Sudo thing, all of these sort of things that they're trying to grow the fan base, and that's great. International fans is a good thing. Legacy fans, as they call them, all the homegrown fans, are the heart and soul of the club. And of course, you can't lose connection with your local fans, but we do welcome a wider fan base, and that's a good thing for bringing in revenues for the club and growing it. What I am pleased to hear, because obviously Jeff did put an article out in the Express and Star, which really upset me and pretty much most of the fan base, about like, if you want to follow Wolves, get to Europe and win things, Wolves might not be the club for you. So it's good to hear him saying that they want to win something, that they have ambition to win something. That's a positive. That's what we want to hear. As I've said in the last couple of weeks, we need to start acting like a big club, not a little club. We need to start thinking like big clubs, and we need to have big vision and big plans. So it's a good thing to hear the chairman saying, yeah, we want to win something, but it's all right saying it. You need to show us it as well. And that needs investment to make the squad stronger in key areas and not leave ourselves short. Hopefully that's coming as we go forward, especially through to the next cycle of transfer windows. Be interesting to see what happens with January on that. But first of all, obviously, we're in this mess at the moment. So on to that, they said, is there any trust still in Gary O'Neill? Matt Hobbs initially answered this one saying, like all of us, Gary's obviously disappointed with the results and does expect more. Sometimes as a head coach, you can look at other clubs like down the road at Villa, what they've spent, but he understands what we're trying to do. He's also very aligned with Jeff and I and what our plan is. I've been really impressed with his work ethic and his humility. The whole football club has to find ways of supporting Gary and his staff to find the extra 15% that they're looking for. Talked about that they've made individual mistakes with some stuff that they definitely would change, but we've played all the big teams and not been tactically outplayed. So on the tactically outplayed things, you look at the Chelsea 2-2, you look at the games that we were winning against Newcastle and Villa. Their coaches changed tactically and made tactical changes. So first off, you can probably argue that in-game tactical changes, you've got to dispute that, and that obviously I'm not sure that that's actually true. I think tactically we've been outfoxed by those managers in the second half, and Gary hasn't reacted enough, and that's something he's definitely wanting to improve, as I'm sure, as a young manager. So to summarise this, Jeff Shi obviously understands, hopefully, the importance of communicating the club's vision and the club's owners' visions for the fans. He's come out and done a major interview in a national paper, sharing some of the goals, maybe also sort of trying to deflect some of the criticism that's been come. He's talked about the investments. You know, always Wolves, we've been aware for some time that the investment is being looked for, and that could be a lot closer to actually happening. And some of this statement might be a precursor to announcing potentially some investment in the club, and if that comes, that's, everyone will be welcome with that. Jeff and obviously Matt have both affirmed their confidence in Gary O'Neill despite the poor run of results. Praised O'Neill, but obviously at the moment we are 15 games, 1 win. We haven't won in the league since March. We've got Liverpool this coming run. It is a difficult start. We on the channel, you know, have tried to allow for those extenuating circumstances, the injuries from last year, the difficult run, and it is difficult, but obviously, you know, when you see what happens in second half of games, when games that we played really well in and then we've lost the game, you do start to get a bit worried and concerned. So the general message coming out from Jeff and Matt is stay calm. They have a plan. They know what they're doing. There's there's a structure. It seems to me that they've set out and they're going to stick to this back four, but we'll see whether Gary changes that. We have 3 centre backs at the moment, but the general message is, like, we've decided we're going to play with a back four, and that's what we're going to stick to. And you know, you can criticise Matt Hobbs and you can criticise Jeff Shi, but you can't really criticise them for coming out and doing an interview. There's a lot of sporting directors and chairmen that you never hear from. Whether you want to have a pop at them or not for what they've said, that's fair enough, but you have to respect them for coming out and doing an interview and trying to give the Wolves fans a more wholesome picture of what the plan is. That doesn't take away from the stress and frustration currently that the fan base have. The sooner we get back to winning games and getting points on the board and getting away from the relegation zone, the better it is. I still think there's an issue, you know, with the defensive recruitment. Personally, you have to plan for major injuries. And yeah, leave your thoughts really in the comment section below. You're the fans. Give us your thoughts in the comment section. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about this on the phone-in show on Extra Time on Sunday night. Just wanted to do this video to give you an insight on what's been said. I always try to give a little balance, but you can just say what you want in the comment section. Are you pleased that Jeff and Matt have come out and done this interview? Do you see the positives of them doing that? Try and have some positive and as well as any negatives that you've got to say in the comments, and obviously I'll read that. We'll read them and get back to you. And let's hope, you know, be interesting to see what happens with the press conference with Gary O'Neill, which we'll cover for you, and of course everything around the Liverpool game at the weekend. So if you've not already done so, make sure you do subscribe to the most watched Wolves fan channel on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, let us know what you think. And until the next one, from myself, Dazzling Dave, to you guys, always Wolves.